Captain Jake Morrison had seen plenty of combat zones during his 8 years as a freelance rescue pilot, but nothing prepared him for the sight of the burning Valorian diplomatic cruiser spiraling toward Earth's atmosphere like a dying star. The distress beacon screamed across all frequencies, its urgent pulse cutting through the routine chatter of orbital traffic control. "This is Captain Morrison of the Firefly responding to distress beacon," Jake transmitted, his fingers already dancing across the controls as he pushed his modified rescue ship into a dangerous intercept trajectory. "I'm coming in hot. Prepare for emergency extraction." The response came through crackling static, broken by the sound of explosions and screaming metal. "Captain, structural integrity failing at 30%. Princess Liara is trapped in the royal chamber." "Main power systems offline? Please? We have minutes." Jake's jaw clenched as he calculated the angles. The cruiser was tumbling, its orbit degrading rapidly. Atmospheric entry would incinerate everyone aboard in less than 5 minutes. He'd need to match the spin, dock while the ship was literally tearing itself apart, locate the princess, and extract before the whole thing became a fireball. "Just another Tuesday," he muttered, firing maneuvering thrusters. The Firefly shuddered as it matched velocity with the dying cruiser, magnetic clamps engaging with a metallic shriek that Jake felt in his bones. Through the viewport, he could see plasma fires eating through the ship's elegant hull, consuming the beautiful Valorian craftsmanship that had taken decades to perfect. The airlock seal indicator flashed yellow. Not great, but it would hold long enough. Jake grabbed his emergency kit and stormed through the connection tube into chaos. Smoke filled the corridors, emergency lights flickered like dying heartbeats, and the artificial gravity kept cutting in and out, making each step a gamble. His scanner led him deeper into the ship, past bodies of crew members who hadn't made it, past sparking conduits and collapsed bulkheads. The life sign he was tracking remained strong but stationary, trapped, just as the distress call had indicated. When Jake finally reached the royal chamber, he found the entrance blocked by a twisted blast door. He could see her through a narrow gap, Princess Liara, unconscious but breathing, her delicate blue-tinted skin unmarred despite the chaos around her. She looked so young, maybe 20 in human years, with silver-white hair that fell across her face like moonlight. "Hang on, Princess," Jake grunted, wedging his plasma torch into the gap and cutting through the door mechanism. Behind him, the ship groaned like a wounded animal. The deck tilted sharply as another explosion rocked the vessel. The door finally gave way, and Jake rushed to Liara's side, checking her vitals. Alive, stable, but deeply unconscious, probably sedated by her security systems when the attack began. He hoisted her over his shoulder in a fireman's carry and ran. The ship was dying around him. Bulkheads collapsed like dominoes, atmosphere vented in explosive bursts, and the temperature spiked as the cruiser began its terminal descent. Jake's legs burned, his lungs screamed, but he didn't slow down. He made it to the Firefly with seconds to spare, practically throwing himself and the princess through the airlock as he triggered the emergency release. The magnetic clamps disengaged, and his ship rocketed away on full thrust just as the Valorian cruiser exploded in a brilliant fireball that lit up Earth's orbit like a second sun. Jake carefully secured Princess Liara in the medical bay, monitoring her vitals as the Firefly's automated systems began treatment. Her breathing was steady, her heartbeat strong, she'd survive. Relief washed over him as Earth's orbit stabilized around them and the immediate danger passed. But as he turned to contact Valorian authorities, something strange happened. Princess Liara stirred, her violet eyes fluttering open and then widening with shock as they landed on Jake's face. "You," she whispered, her voice trembling with an emotion Jake couldn't identify. "The prophecy, the ancient texts, it's you." Before Jake could respond or ask what she meant, the ship's comm system blazed to life with an override code that bypassed all his security protocols. A holographic image materialized in the center of the medical bay. A woman who looked remarkably like Liara, but older, more regal, and radiating an almost overwhelming presence that made the air itself seem to thrum with power. She was breathtaking. Standing what Jake estimated to be nearly 6 feet tall, her skin bore a warm orange tint that seemed to catch and hold light, making her glow softly even through the hologram. Her golden blonde hair fell in elaborate waves past her shoulders, adorned with crystalline ornaments that chimed softly with each slight movement of her head. She wore robes that spoke of ancient authority blended with elegant grace, but it was her eyes, deep amber with flecks of gold, that captured Jake completely and held him frozen. "I am Queen Seraphina of Valoria Prime," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in Jake's chest. "You have saved my daughter's life. According to our oldest and most sacred laws, you have claimed the right of soul bond." She paused, her gaze locked on Jake with an intensity that made his breath catch and his heart hammer. "And I choose to invoke it with you." Jake's world tilted. His mouth opened and closed several times before words finally emerged. "Wait, what? Your Majesty, I don't understand." "Mother," Liara interrupted, sitting up despite her injuries, her eyes wide with wonder, "are you certain? The soul bond hasn't been invoked by a ruling monarch in 300 years. The political implications." "I am certain," Seraphina said firmly, though her eyes never left Jake. "I felt it the moment I saw the recording of the rescue, the way he moved through impossible danger, the way he carried you with such care, the courage and selflessness radiating from every action. Something in me recognized something in him." Her voice softened, became almost vulnerable. "Something I thought died with your father 10 years ago." Jake found his voice, though it came out rougher than intended. "Your Majesty, I'm honored, but I don't even know what a soul bond means. I'm just a rescue pilot trying to make a living. I'm nobody. You are the man who flew into an exploding ship to save a stranger," Seraphina interrupted, her regal composure cracking slightly to reveal raw emotion beneath. "You are the man who risked everything without hesitation, who valued a life over your own safety, who showed courage that would humble most warriors in my fleet. That is not nobody, Jake Morrison. That is everything our people value. That is everything I value." Princess Liara looked between them, a knowing smile crossing her face despite her exhaustion. "Mother is right, Captain. The soul bond is our people's highest honor, our most sacred connection. It's given when one soul recognizes its perfect complement in another. When she says she felt it," Liara placed a hand over her heart, "she means her very essence called to yours." Seraphina's hologram stepped closer, the projection so clear that Jake could see the subtle shift in her expression, the vulnerability warring with royal dignity. "Among my people, when a royal life is saved by an act of true selflessness, the Savior may claim a soul bond, a connection that transcends time, space, and even death itself. It is permanent, absolute, and chosen only when souls are meant to be unified. She clasped her hands together, a gesture Jake would later learn meant deep sincerity among her people. But here is what makes this moment unprecedented. Typically, the saved royal offers the bond to their savior. I am choosing to offer it myself, as queen and as Liara's mother. I am choosing you, Jake Morrison, to be bound to my soul for eternity. Jake's mind reeled as he tried to process the enormity of what she was saying. Your Majesty, I need to understand what this means. What exactly is a soul bond? Seraphina's expression softened, and for a moment the queen seemed to fade and just a woman remained, lonely, hopeful, and achingly sincere. It means that from this moment forward our souls will be entwined. I will feel your emotions as you feel mine. Your joys will become mine, your sorrows will echo in my heart. The distance between stars will mean nothing. I will know when you're in pain, when you're happy, when you need me. She paused, her voice dropping to something intimate despite Liara's presence. And in time, as the bond strengthens and completes itself, we will belong to each other completely. Partners in every sense, heart, mind, and soul. It cannot be broken except by death, and even then some say the connection persists beyond. Mother hasn't smiled in years, Liara interjected softly, looking at Jake with gratitude shining in her violet eyes. Not really. She's been strong, unbreakable, perfect for our people. But watching her study the rescue footage, seeing her face when she announced her choice to the council, she was alive again. Because of you. Seraphina's composure finally cracked completely. Tears gathered in her amber eyes, ancient, unshed tears that spoke of years of loneliness and duty. I have ruled alone for 10 years since my husband's death. I have been strong because I had to be, because my people needed me to be unshakable. I have made every decision with logic and wisdom, suppressing every personal desire. Her voice broke slightly. But when I saw you carry my daughter to safety, when I felt your courage emanating from every movement, when I witnessed pure selflessness with no thought of reward, something in me awakened. Something I thought I'd buried with my husband. The capacity to choose for myself, to want something beyond duty, to hope for love rather than just respect. Jake found himself stepping closer to the hologram, drawn by her honesty and vulnerability. When do I meet you? The real you, not a projection. A genuine smile graced Seraphina's lips, the first real smile he'd seen, transforming her from intimidating queen to radiant woman. My flagship, the Eternal Dawn, is en route to your position now. We'll arrive in 6 hours. She reached out as if to touch his face, her holographic hand stopping just short of his skin. And then, Jake Morrison, we begin a journey neither of us expected, but both of us desperately need. 6 hours had never felt so long. Jake cleaned his station apartment 3 times, changed his shirt 4 times, rehearsed 17 different greetings, and seriously considered fleeing to a distant planet where interstellar royalty couldn't invoke mysterious soul bonds with him. But when Queen Seraphina's flagship, the Eternal Dawn, finally docked with his modest quarters, when the airlock cycled open with a pressurized hiss, when she walked through his door flanked by 2 silent guards who quickly retreated at her gesture, every thought fled Jake's mind. Seraphina was absolutely breathtaking in person. The hologram hadn't done her justice. Standing just under 6 feet tall in elegant boots, Her orange-tinted skin seemed to catch and hold the station's artificial light, making her appear to glow with inner radiance. Her golden blonde hair fell in perfect waves past her shoulders, adorned with subtle crystalline ornaments that chimed like wind chimes with each movement. She wore robes of deep crimson and gold that managed to be both regal and somehow intimate, cut to show the graceful lines of her figure while maintaining royal dignity. But it was her eyes, those deep amber eyes with flecks of gold that caught the light, that captured him completely. They held wisdom, sadness, hope, and something else that made his breath catch, desire. "Jake," she said simply, his name on her lips sounding like a prayer and a promise combined. Her voice was richer in person, carrying harmonics that resonated in his chest. "Your Majesty," he began, but she raised one elegant hand. "Serafina," she corrected gently but firmly. "Please, Jake." The soul bond doesn't recognize titles, only truth. When we're alone, I'm not a queen, I'm just myself, just Serafina. She moved closer, studying him with that same intense gaze from the hologram, but now it carried warmth, curiosity, and vulnerability. "May I, to begin the bonding properly, I need to touch you, to let our souls begin their recognition." At his nervous nod, she stepped into his personal space, close enough that he could smell something like starlight and cinnamon radiating from her skin. She reached out slowly, giving him every chance to retreat, and placed her palm directly over his heart. The moment her hand touched his chest, Jake gasped. Warmth flooded through him, not just physical heat, but emotional warmth that cascaded like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. He felt her grief, deep and ancient like ocean trenches. Her loneliness carried like armor for a decade. Her fierce, protective love for Liara that knew no bounds. Her desperate hope that maybe, finally, she didn't have to carry everything alone. Her fear that this wouldn't be real, that somehow she was wrong. "You feel it," she whispered, wonder transforming her face as tears gathered in her eyes. "Oh, ancestors, you actually feel it. The bond is already forming, already connecting us. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't just desperate or foolish. I feel." "You," Jake breathed, his own hand rising to cover hers where it pressed against his heart. "Your strength, but also your sadness, your loneliness. How long have you been alone, Serafina?" Her composure shattered like glass. The tears fell freely now, tracking down her luminous orange skin. "Too long, Jake, far too long. I have been a symbol, an icon, a pillar of strength, but not a woman, not someone's beloved, someone's choice, someone's everything." Without thinking, responding purely to the emotions flooding through their nascent bond, Jake stepped closer and pulled her into his arms. For a moment, Serafina stiffened. Queens don't get held, don't show weakness, don't collapse into the arms of strangers. But then something broke in her, and she melted against him, her face buried in his shoulder as 10 years of unshed tears finally found release. "I may not understand your world yet, your politics, your customs, all the responsibilities you carry," Jake murmured into her hair, feeling the rightness of holding her. "But I understand loneliness. I understand what it means to save others while forgetting to save yourself. I understand duty that crushes you even as it gives you purpose." Serafina pulled back slightly, her amber eyes searching his face with wonder. "Then we are more alike than our stations would suggest. Two souls carrying burdens alone, finding each other across the stars." She managed a trembling smile. "The bond chose well. My instinct chose well." "Does this mean I have to learn royal protocol?" Jake asked, attempting levity to ease the intensity of the moment and make her smile again. Because I'm pretty sure I just committed about 15 etiquette violations. Serafina's laugh was like music, rich, genuine, uninhibited. At least 20, she corrected, her eyes sparkling with humor that transformed her entire face. But I find I don't care. Perhaps that's the bond's influence, or perhaps. She reached up to touch his face with wonder, her fingers tracing his jawline. Perhaps I'm just tired of caring about protocol when my heart is finally feeling something real. What happens now? Jake asked, acutely aware of her touch, of the emotions flowing between them through the bond, of how right this felt despite the impossibility of it all. Now, Serafina said, reluctance clear in her voice, I must return to my duties. The council is in emergency session regarding the attack on Liara's ship. But, she gripped his hands tightly, I will return. Every moment I can steal, I will be here. And you'll feel me even when we're apart. The bond will keep us connected. I'll be here, Jake promised, squeezing her hands. Learning everything I can about your people, your world. I won't be the ignorant human who doesn't understand what he's getting into. Pride shone in Serafina's eyes. You already understand the most important thing, that underneath crowns and titles were just people seeking connection. That's more than most royals learn in lifetimes. She kissed his forehead gently, a gesture that sent warmth cascading through the bond. Rest, my Jake. We have a storm coming. The council will oppose this bond with every tool at their disposal. But I will fight for us, for what we're building. As she left, Jake felt her through the bond, her determination, her renewed hope, but also her fear of the political battle ahead. He sent back his own resolution, his commitment, his certainty that whatever came, they'd face it together. Through the viewport, he watched the eternal dawn detach and begin its journey back to Valoria Prime. But Serafina was right. Despite the distance growing between them, he felt her presence like a warm light in his chest. The bond had begun, and neither of them was alone anymore.